everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday, September 28th, 2022 Franklin Board of Education meeting. The meeting has been properly posted. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Dr. Deere. Here. Mr. Sprague?
Here.
Mrs. Witkowski? Here. Mr. Alexandrovich?
Here.
Mrs. Sakursky? Here. Dr. Khan is excused. We are all present.
Thank you. Can we also have the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Countrydale Elementary School presentation. Mrs. LaPlante, please.
Wonderful. All right. We'll have them come up and I think. So, hi everybody. I'm Shauna LaPlante. I'm the principal at Countrydale Elementary School. We are the lucky chosen ones who really get to set the stage this year with board presentations. And we're super excited. I reached out to my staff and I said, who wants to come with me and present at a board meeting? It's going to be so much fun. And right away, Mrs. Belo said, I do. We don't know enough about 4K around here. So we're really excited to talk to you a little bit tonight about 4K. Mrs. Belo and I were, we were lucky to be a part of kind of the implementation of 4K. We've been around for a couple of years. So tonight, Tina Belo will be speaking, and then Amy Strobel is one of the cross-categorical teachers who is new to Franklin, new to Countrydale, and she was very willing and excited to come and join us today as well. Next slide here. So we decided, we thought about having some of our 4K students join us. We thought that might be a little much for their first experience presenting right in front of people. The speaking and listening standards, it kind of, came to me, but then we decided, let's hold off on doing that yet, and instead we will have some of our former 4K friends here to share a little bit about their experiences. And they currently have siblings who are actually in Mrs. Belo's class this year. So they're very excited to talk to you tonight. So Savannah and Jackson will both be speaking in just a few minutes. The main thing that we want to share with you is just kind of an overview of what is it like in 4K. When we started this program, we thought about what is that experience going to be like for our youngest learners in Franklin, knowing that they would be a part of kindergarten, right? And so we knew that this had to be a little bit different. And we really thought about connecting with play. And how can we make connections with literacy and math, but also not ever losing the importance of play and developing their social and emotional skills. So that is a lot of what you're going to hear about tonight. All right.
All right. I'll take it away. So I'm Tina Belo, and I do teach 4K at Countrydale. So this is my 4th year. As Shauna said, I have been part of this program from the beginning, from the creation of it and the designing of it. So it's pretty exciting to share with you tonight what a day in the life of a 4K student is like. So this talks about our typical day. We will arrive at 9:05 and we all meet in the front of the school because as you know, Countrydale has a very long hallway. And so we all join at the front of the school. We all walk down together. And then we start our day by taking out our folder, going into the classroom, checking in, all the skills that are important to become independent and prepare for 5K. We then go to our warm-up tubs, which would be either a fine motor or a math or a literacy activity. It's a very short time, but it's a great way to get their brains ready to learn for the day. We then move into our meeting time, which is a place where we talk about what our day is going to look like. How are you feeling today? And feelings are one of our social and emotional learning intentions, and so that's a great way to bring that in. We move into play workshop, which is also a huge social, emotional, and learning time. Phonemic awareness, which includes literacy and math. Every other day, one day is literacy, the next day is math. We then have snack, and then centers, which revolve around our theme for the week. And then we end our day with recess and a gross motor activity, and then our circle and closing. And throughout the day, we have various learning intentions that are incorporated, and you'll hear more about those in the next couple slides. Okay. I need to check. All right. Julian, I will hold your hand today, all right? Because I held your hand yesterday. Okie dokie, we'll just switch your room. All right, off you go.
You walked in line with your friends. Thank you. Okay, now look at your to-dos right there. What do you need to do first?
The eye's not broken.
Yeah, okay, turn it around, make sure we want to see your pretty bag. See it? Pretty
The
bag.
eye's not broken.
Okay.
Not broken.
See the colors on your bag?
The eye's not broken. It's so cold.
Where's Connor? Where's Connor? There he is.
It's in here.
Okay, come and take a seat. Come and take a seat. Your friend
Put your
of the day.
speech a little bit
Your
this way.
friend of the day.
Now we have a spot open. Okay.
Okay. I'm not here. Yes. I'm not coming here first.
Right, now we have another spot.
I can wait. Right.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Again, I'm Amy Strobel. I'm the CrossCat teacher, special educator. I am so lucky that I get to be in 4K with Mrs. Belo and my 4K friends every day. So just wanted to point out something you just saw in the video is we use supports for our students, for all of our students. But you saw me specifically praising a targeted behavior for one of my students, and then also using a visual schedule. This is a 4-year-old that can read, so his to-do list actually is sentences because he can read. So I combine words and pictures so that he could independently know what he needs to do to get started for his day.
All right, so next we'll have Savannah. She is in 2nd grade, and she was one of my 4K students. And she is going to share a small moment in time about her 4K experience.
I love Miss Belo as my teacher because she was funny, she is kind. Miss Belo taught me songs like Days of the Week and the Month song. She taught me how to write my name. She taught me the alphabet. She taught me how to read. She really loves her students. She's the most awesome teacher in the world. My Miss Belo was my favorite part of 4K.
I didn't help her write that, I promise. That was all her. All right, 4K is a gentle start to school in the Franklin Public Schools. This slide talks about our 4K learning intentions. Our year is made up of 5 different themes. Each theme has specific learning intentions that are from social emotional learning intentions, literacy learning intentions, or math intentions. These intentions are then incorporated into our theme. Each theme lasts about 6 to 8 weeks. So you will see some pictures of current 4K students. This is during our play workshop time. Our first friend is Max. Max also works with Mrs. Strobel. And then we have Theo And then the last picture is a picture of a really great example of social emotional learning in our dramatic play area. The next group of pictures are from Centers. Centers is a time when the theme for the week is incorporated. So this week we were working, talking about friends. And so they were working together and friends to build Lego creations. Ariana was painting, and they worked together with a friend to paint one picture. And then the last group worked together to build one puzzle at a time. So this was a great way for us to start the year off, taking turns, sharing, learning how to be a good friend. As I talked a little bit about earlier, our year is made up of themes. We have 5 themes during the year, and those themes are shown right here. And then once we have our themes, that's where our learning intentions came from. And our learning intentions are from the Wisconsin Learning Standards.
And you're Nora. What do you like about 4K?
Reading center.
Reading centers? What do you like about 4K?
I like playing on the playground.
On the what?
On the playground.
What do you do out there?
We play on the playground. Take the package so we got package calls.
What about you? What are you doing? What's your name? Hayden. What do you like about being in 4K? What do you like to do when you're here at school?
Play workshop.
Play workshop? What do you do in play workshop? Read books? What's your favorite book? That is the best book. Thank you.
All right, our next student is Jackson.
Hello, my name is Jackson Wells, and I am 7 years old. I am here to tell you about when I was in 4K. Some of my favorite things about 4K were playing games, making friends, and learning new things from my awesome teacher, Mrs. Bilo. One of my best memories from 4K was winning the Cougar Award. It was special for me because our class was the first 4K class ever at Countrydale. That means I was one of the first 4K Cougar Award winners ever at my school. I was proud of myself for being ready, respectful, and responsible. My family was also really proud of me. Overall, I love being in 4K. Thank you, Mrs. Bilo, for being my friend. And thank you to everyone here tonight for listening to my story. The end.
I think they stole the show. They did a really good job. Nice.
I know, I don't want to follow him.
All right. So tonight, you learned a little bit about 4K. Thank you again for the opportunity to share a look into the life of a 4K student. And that's a place where we are always learning and growing together.
Our model is co-plan to co-serve. We share responsibility for all of our 4K friends.
Mhm.
We collaborate to provide meaningful and engaging learning experiences for all of our friends. And we utilize student strengths to meet all of their unique needs because our little friends have all different needs. So we problem solve to help all of them. And then I align my specially designed instruction to meet state standards as well as our learning intentions. And so we want all students to access all of the curriculum. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Country Dale would be great. I mean, you come up, yeah, right in front of our board. That would be so amazing. You'll see yourself in that video later.
Those two were actually, those two were actually best friends in 4K. Jackson and
Gotta
Smith.
get in there. All right, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at you. Excellent.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
What do you say?
Tell her, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Her jacket. Her jacket.
Can you grab that?
Okay, come on. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone who's already up. Community comment. I don't think we need to read the entire community comment. If the community comment is related to an agenda item, the board may respond to that comment either at the end of the community comment session or during the discussion of that agenda item. The board may not discuss a comment or question that does not relate to an agenda item per board policy administrative rules 8300. Michelle, Weinke, please.
All right, I'm just back here to talk about the lack of transparency at Franklin and on what the kids are being taught. I would assume that I could ask a teacher about what they're teaching this year, and they would have a basic outline to share at minimum. I went to the middle school open house meeting, and I met all my son's teachers except for the FACE teacher. Some had answers, like the gym and automation. They were very in-depth. They told us what was going on, what was the plan for the year, and then it came to science, reading, writing, and global studies. And I found that the teachers were hesitant to answer questions, even asking a fellow teacher, well, what are we going to do in October? Like, I don't even get that. I had a teacher not even knowing if he could share a document with the class overview with me and had to ask the principal. And I did get it yesterday finally, so 12 days later, and it was watered down. It was basically copy and paste from, I'm assuming, some Common Core standards. It had little codes by it. It wasn't what I saw in the classroom that he had showed me there. I was told to consult with a literacy coach to see any curriculum for reading, writing, and global studies. That's still out in an email, trying to find a time, but I have to actually go into the school and get access to this. So again, my time is just wasted again, but for a good reason for my son. The teacher cannot or will not share many details with her teaching. I assume one of the reasons was because of global studies, and this is where it definitely got a little hesitant. There are some pretty intense politicized and divided issues like immigration and civil unrest. When I asked what that could include something like, when I asked her specifically what it was, she didn't have anything, so I just said, is this George Floyd? And she said, it could be. But they can pick their own topics. My son's 12. He doesn't know the basics of immigration because he has not been taught what the laws of immigration are in this district. He doesn't know anything about civil unrest because we keep him away from media because it is biased. So what is he going to learn in this class? I have no idea. I'm so disappointed in the lack of transparency that I am jumping down rabbit holes left and right, being sent to another person. I had a meeting, thank you, Christine, today, and I got yet more names to go down more rabbit holes to get more information. I'm just chasing. That's all I'm doing to find out what my kid is being taught. And if a teacher cannot provide me with 100% of what is being taught in that classroom, they're hiding something. And when we hide something, we're doing something wrong. And I do believe that Franklin has jumped on this politicized bandwagon, and we are harming our children, and we are keeping the parents locked out of these classrooms. I'm continuing on because there's nobody else here. In 6th grade, my son came home and told me that communism is a good idea and that everybody gets what they want. And he still believes that because that's what he was taught in 6th grade. I don't know what he was taught because I wasn't allowed to see anything because of COVID. I couldn't even go into the school. So everything's being hidden from the parents, and this is upsetting me to no end. Nothing comes home graded with any feedback. I had to specifically touch base with his science teacher and say, how do I get some feedback on a test? And he emailed me today. He said, I gave it to Noah. Please return it tomorrow so that I could actually see something returned. And then you might say, look at the Google Classrooms. There's nothing in depth on there. There's no curriculum because even the finance lady is like, we just kind of make up our own. And she gave me some acronym. I don't know what it stands for. The principal told me, I can't remember. I have it written down at home. So these teachers do not seem like they are willing to share, know what they can share. Everything should be able to be shared with me and any other parent. And then I do read everything. I read through the handbook, and I have touched base with Laura, and she did this. But I have the right to request teacher qualifications copied right from the handbook. I sent it to Laura today. I'm not trying to be mean. And she comes back and said, and I gave the teachers' names, said, we're not designated as a Title I school. Here's public records. I said, this is coming right out of our handbook, that I have the right to this, and now I'm being denied it. She's looking into it because now she knows it's actually from the handbook. Again, it's another thing that doesn't make sense, that there is no clarity within this district for any answers other than another hole to go down this way or that way. And again, transparency for parents, an actual curriculum, not just a Common Core standard, would be greatly appreciated so that I know what my child is being taught. I guess that's it. So I thank you for your time, and I hope that we can get some transparency for parents because I can't be the only one. I just can't be. But thank you.
Thank you. Mary Yang, please.
Mary Yank, 5731 West Cascade Drive. Kind of whipped this together at the last minute, so I apologize. It's not as articulate as I'd like it to be. But I've attended several recent board meetings where finances and the budget were discussed at some length. I readily admit that I do not have the financial acumen to grasp and digest and make sense of much of what has been discussed. Terms like mill rate, taxpayer levy, debt service, and defeasance are completely beyond my scope of understanding, and I have to suspect there are others that feel that way as well. Even though my daughter will graduate next year from high school, I do intend to remain in Franklin for many years and do have a vested interest in making sure that our schools provide the best, most well-rounded education they can. I am definitely aware that our population continues to grow and that our buildings and grounds continue to age, with it being only a matter of time before major repairs are needed and a new school probably needs to be constructed. I certainly sensed disagreement among board members about the budget and paying off debt and other matters, and I have to presume that the final decision was not one of kicking the can down the road as far as deferred maintenance, deferred debt payoff, deferred tax things for hikes for future payers. And I guess I'm just wondering if there might be a way to synthesize and summarize at a simpler level what the implications are for today's students and teachers and taxpayers with regards to the budget for those same folks in 5 years and 10 years, if that's even possible. So again, I don't know if it's possible to, in simpler layman's terms, tell us what the implications are for what was decided, I think a couple of weeks ago, and then what the implications are, again, for 5 years. I know Dr. Khan was in particular, taxpayers and inflation and all of that, and certainly want to be respectful of what taxpayers have to face. But I'm just wondering, in 5 years, does that mean it's going to be better, the budget, or 10 years? I guess I'm just wondering if there's a way to provide some sort of synopsis in a way that's understandable for people who don't understand it. Thank you. Oh, and thank you for everything you do. I have that on here.
Thank you, Mary. Feel free to call me. Sure. Certainly happy to have a conversation. Item 6, consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I came in late. May I have 3 minutes just to?
Please.
All right. Good evening. My name is Colleen Jones. I'm a Franklin resident. I have students here in the schools. Apologize for showing up late. But
I'm sorry. Can you please state your address?
8091 South Lakeview Drive. I'm late because it's something that happened at the school today, at the high school, and the email that we all received. I have a daughter who's quite distressed about that. And her bigger concern, which is why I'm at the board, because I understand that you can't fix these terrible things that are being sent out on social media. But currently, my understanding at the high school is we have no working communication system. So we have kids in the classroom that wouldn't be able to hear a warning announcement. And that is a safety risk, and that should be our top priority right now, making sure that those kids could hear anything that they might need to know to keep them safe. So I understand that you can't respond to me. I'd love it if somebody talked to me afterwards about this, and I hope that there is a plan in place, and particularly for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know about the system at the high school. And we will be having a closed session tonight talking about safety plans and that sort of thing. Obvious reasons we can't discuss a lot of it in tonight's closed session, but this is better than follow up with you.
You're not here at the end of the meeting, I can call you tomorrow.
All right, anybody else? All right, consent agenda. I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. School board calendar. There's a regular Board of Education meeting Wednesday, October 12th, 2022 at the ECC. The Board of Education workshop Wednesday, October 26th, 2022. And at the ECC at 5:30, and then the regular Board of Education meeting will be that same day at 6:30, and that will be, the workshop will be our retreat for, that we didn't have in the summer. That's that, the next month. District Administrator's Update. Mrs. Bennett, please.
So thank you to Countrydale for being here tonight. I know they left, but it was a nice presentation. And then we'll be there tomorrow, so the forecast still bring up here, we can deliver some snacks, so we can start tomorrow. But that is the other day. So a couple updates. We're excited for this Friday is our first professional development day of 6 that we have this school year. We're thankful to have those in the calendar. We're thankful to our families for figuring out their children those days. We know that's difficult as a parent myself, I understand that. But they have become a really nice necessity for us as far as it's difficult to get substitutes. This allows us an opportunity to actually get our staff together and develop in a variety of areas. We're pretty eager to look forward to some new opportunities that we've added for these 6 days this year. One of them's our Gearing Up sessions, which allows some choice for our staff and how they want to personally grow. So meeting our core value as a district, but all aligning to our coherence plan and then our students, our full teams for our different schools. choice in how they elect for a couple hours that day to continue to grow. These days also allow us a couple hours to work on our curriculum alignment. So that vertical alignment is really important to ensure continuity through our learning for our students, bringing staff together from a variety of grades or departments is obviously not possible during the school year when students are in session, maybe within your grade or department, but not more vertically. So we're excited for that opportunity also that day, and then also some staff time in the afternoon in their buildings to grow in their school improvement plans. Our first day is this Friday. We're going to send out a feedback tool afterwards, whether we hit the mark or whether we continue to grow. Another update is that I think most of us know now our school resource officer, Scott Paprocki, is down to his last few days in the district. He's just going by retirement. He's had SRO Amy Hempy, who some of you have met, shadowing him so far since the beginning of the school year. So she's familiar with how we service our students, how we build that rapport, and how we work together. Excuse me. So we're excited for her to take over the next few weeks. And then something that the police department has kind of always been in existence, but they have revamped it this year, is what they call an adopt a school program. So they take a day shift officer and align them with each of our schools. So each of our schools outside of the high school, because that's where our SRO is housed mostly. So for Forest Park and our 5 elementaries, I have an officer that's aligned with them. And then part of that contract is to stop in minimally once a week, just build rapport, talk to students, talk to staff. They can be there in any way that the principal and them work out what they like to do. So sometimes they might come in and work with classes and teachers on just safety and discussions, but really just to build a positive relationship. I enjoyed one of the quotes that the department shared with us that's in their contract. And it says to the officers that taking the time to stop by your schools to socialize and interact positively with the students is also an opportunity for a mental health break from the grind of calls and negative interactions that we often have. So it was nice to see that, just this positive piece of bringing our community together. Our SRO is obviously always working with the schools too, but if there's a call from one of those buildings and their day shift officers on, they're going to try to align that they go there and support. So again, those relationship pieces. So it was something really neat to see, and that's not something I've seen in other communities, such strong support and relationships with the police department. And I would say personally, I really appreciate what that does for our district. Next week's homecoming week. So not that we've had lack of excitement in the district, but this is a really fun one to look forward to. A few things, I mean, there's events every day. So we've been sending that out in our district communication. We'll continue to do the social media posts. There's a few things especially excited for to be a part of our walking in the parade on Wednesday. We have candy to fill out. So that's the 5 o'clock for staging, 5:30 the parade starts. And there's a community pep rally afterwards. So quick parade, so whenever that concludes, let's get that started by 6:30 maybe before. Friday we have the football game and opening night for Sound of Music. So excited for both of those events, and then also put together some special transportation and shuttle services that we've pushed out to families already, but we'll continue to do that. And also Forte here, pushing that out to their listserv, and also to the team that we played that evening. So we're hoping for safe arrival and departure of everybody on time to be had by all. And then, of course, Park Middle School will host our high school students for the dance on Saturday evening. Like I said, there's soccer games, boys and girls volleyball during that week. We have a couple matches and games that are not home, but also to be celebrated. And then the final update is around transportation. I think that's been the front of a lot of our minds. There's been a lot of many meetings at the district level and throughout the district, and continuing to try to work with our vendor per student. As we know, we had a shortage of bus drivers. Tomorrow we go into our 3rd week of those routes that were canceled, where we said we had drivers following 3 weeks. And then we've had a few routes that were canceled even longer than that, a couple days prior when school started. So just an update, we do have a communication going out to all families tomorrow afternoon, explaining kind of what the next steps are, what they can expect on Monday. There are changes, some for the better that we're excited about. All of our morning routes are filled. We've done some rerouting, meaning that we re-examine now that we've seen ridership, and we can see it, who's actually riding versus who told us about 6 months ago that they may be riding. So we've been able to consolidate a few routes. So while we have all the morning routes covered, it doesn't mean that all of these drivers have come out of the woodwork. It just means that internally we've worked extremely hard to find ways to cover that. We've also taken into consideration who has been affected impacted by that. So trying, not that we want to displace any families, but at least trying to move that around. In our rerouting, we've also considered proximity to the schools. So meaning if they're 5 miles from the school or a block from the school, we try to route closer to the schools together in an effort to not have as much impact on families if routes are canceled. Now, I understand that still means an impact. These are all difficult things to say. I wish I could just say it's all figured out and done. It's not, but we're a lot closer. And I think that I will stand by my team and say we have done a lot to show what we can. We have a few internal drivers that are our own, not prefer student that drive the buses we see the back, the shorter buses. There's another specific license beyond that I've learned this week to drive the larger bus. However, we do have some drivers with that. So Andy's worked with, Mr. Comey's worked with First Student to have a bus that we will have parked here, so we don't have to drive to the Muskego Hub, so that we can utilize one of our drivers who's happy to drive for our families and have accessibility to that transportation here. We have some backup plans also, not all ideal, but some ways we can maybe utilize school vans if we had to, if we needed to try to fill another large bus route. So again, not ideal, but feeling better about some of the creative problem solving we've been able to do internally. And again, that's all going to be effective Monday. Families will get the full communication tomorrow. All of them saying you have morning access to bus driving, if you said that. The second part will be PM. There's still some pieces that are not fixed, but there is some rerouting. So some families will get a message saying we don't yet have transportation. It is fewer families and closer families to schools. It's still, and then the second communication for PM will be just about route changes. Some families might experience a different route number because we've been able to better look at ridership. The last things our families will see is 6 months ago they filled out a ridership survey. We're resubmitting that, or asking them to resubmit that as they now have families settle in, and speak to this for my family, and their year figured out, but they're still planning to utilize transportation. We're happy to figure out how to accommodate that. We just want to re-ask who needs it, and then again, audit our internal route list to see if there's any next level of adjustments that we can make to try to make up for the lack of drivers. So we're really thankful that families have worked hard to figure things out. We know it's not been easy. They have been patient. We appreciate it. We continue to say have a backup plan because I think that the driver shortage is difficult. But we also know that there's someone that should be tested and hopefully pass tomorrow to be on the road, and then 2 more next week. Or that might guess, but soon we'll be able to say that. And so that's kind of the updates of where we're at. We've also celebrated that we try to find celebration in anything we can. That the Forest Park Middle School kind of reroute for pickup and ship. I think close to 15 minutes off of that.
That's great.
And it's taken a lot of people in this building have been willing to walk over and assist any way they can. The police have been willing to help out. So it takes a community. It really has. So there's some of the updates and more to come to all of our families. Tomorrow. We thank them for filling out that survey and all that stuff. Not off the top of my head, I don't. They have a road list. Less than before.
Great, thank you. Reports, presentations, and other school board business. Wisconsin School Board Recognition Week. Savannah, please.
All right, so this is a great opportunity that we celebrate our board all of the time. October 2nd through 8th is Wisconsin School Board Appreciation Week. So we have worked on a couple of tokens like pea buns cake that we get to enjoy this evening. Anyway, and we're also working on, or anybody at this table in this room. And also we've talked about having apparel so that when you're visible, which our board does a very nice job of doing in the community, that you're also identified as like a Franklin board member, so people know who you are in the community. So we've been working on getting those orders together and we have all of those pieces organized. But more so, I can say, and I've only got to work with all of you 2 months, we made a big decision of bringing me in. I really enjoyed and appreciated my time here, and mostly because I see that you're not just visible in the community, and that it's important, but you go to schools, you meet with the administrators, you really hear what our students need, hear what our community needs. You're there to represent all, and I think that that is a heavy weight to carry that people that have this second seat that understand. So
Athletics and Activities Report. Mr. Hine, please.
Again, have a little presentation. There's a middle one. I can click. Reach all the way over. Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Jordan Hine, and I have the honor of serving as the Athletics and Activities Director for Franklin Public Schools. I'm going to start tonight my presentation with just kind of giving you a general overview and a reminder of all the amazing things that we offer, specifically starting with the high school. All of the offerings are also included in the board packet that I provided. So we'll start off with our high school athletics offerings. Here you can see we have 3 different seasons, fall, winter, and spring. Currently entering kind of the like the championship season of our fall sports season now, as we get into regional sectionals, and some of our season culminating events. Fall generally lasts until like the beginning of November, and then we turn around right away and begin our winter sports season, which goes from November all the way through March. And then spring sports generally start early March through mid-June is generally the kind of the last culminating experiences for our spring sport athletes. With clubs and activities, this is specific to the high school. You can see here we have an extensive list of pretty much anything that a student might be passionate about or be interested in, or that might be an extension of one of our academic areas. We try to get those students involved in one of our clubs or activities. We are just starting to ramp up our club signups and starting club meetings now. And so far we've had terrific engagement from our students. And I'll kind of mention some of them a little bit later in terms of seeing some pretty awesome growth in numbers of students that are choosing to get involved early, particularly with our freshman and sophomore classes. And also we're seeing a lot more, we're encouraging our seniors to not leave high school with regrets. And so they are starting to get more involved, and that's generating some pretty awesome things within our student culture that we're super proud about and super excited about. So clubs and activities generally, unless it's a competitive activity, something like forensics would run generally like December through March, but most of our clubs activities that don't compete would just be something that meets either bi-weekly or monthly. So after overviewing kind of the general operations of our department, I'm super proud to talk about our amazing year that we had last year. Giving you an overview of what was the 21-22 school year and the impact that our student athletes and students involved in athletics and activities had, not only on our school culture, our school history, but also just being a constant beacon of pride for our community. So as you can see, I have on the board here a phenomenally impressive bunch of accolades there. And as I consult with other ADs and my peers across the region and across the state, any one of these would be something that might shut down their city, in terms of parades and all kinds of different things. And when we think about Franklin High School and the students that we have involved in athletics, as we look at this slide, and we'll get to activities in a bit, this is kind of our standard now, which is super exciting, that we are, our coaches are collaborating. We're taking what is successful in one program and we are sharpening our other programs, and we're kind of, that rising tide floats all boats kind of a philosophy. So as kids are getting involved, there's a lot of excitement around our athletics and activities programs. And you can see here with 11 conference championships, we had 52 individual state qualifiers. We had 9 teams qualify for their state team competition. Again, you'll see on the news when one team qualifies, you get the fire department out there and the city shut down for a day. We had 9. So, when I think about our fall season last year, I think it was almost every Friday we had our marching band, drumline marching to the school, and it was somebody else going to state. And it was so awesome. We got a ton of steps in for our drum line, so major credit to them. But to have that and to witness and be part of that, what that does to our school culture throughout the year as well. It culminated, we had 9 teams qualify for their state team competition. We captured 2 WIAA state team championships. Our football program captured the Division I football state championship, and our gymnastics program, we co-op with Muskego, returning to the top of the podium as well. We had 1 state runner-up with our dance program. Actually, that would be considered 2. They took second in jazz and in POMs. And then we had 2 state third-place finishers for teams with our girls' tennis and cheerleading. And perhaps most impressive, we had 2 of our coaches at the high school be named the NFHS State Coach of the Year for their respective sports, and that's Lewis Brown for football and Katie Moore for gymnastics. And when I received that call from the WIAA, it was just awesome to listen to them share with me that they don't think they've ever made that call to the same school twice in the same year. So as a reflection of not just the outstanding coaches for those programs, but kind of across the board, both of those coaches are leaders within our coaching staff. Both of them are always open for collaborating with our other sports, and we can start to see those results spread, not just from their program but to the remaining programs in our school. And not to be outdone, our activities programs also had a very excellent year. As we came out of the 20 and 21 school year, many of our activities were altered or adjusted due to COVID. 21 and 22 gave us a chance to kind of reboot and to get kids back involved in some of those things that might not have run normally. Forensics, we had 2 state semifinalists and 1 state place winner, which is very exciting. FBLA, which is the Future Business Leaders of America, has been a steadily growing program. We have a lot of students that are very interested in our business programs and business classes, and then this is an extension of that. And we had 18 students qualify for our state competition this year, which is the most ever. We had 2 state champs, and then 5 students competed at the National Invitational down in Chicago over the summer. Our drama department, we had a fall play and a spring musical, both of which it was great to have people back in the Sabre Center. It was wonderful not to have to worry about is the stream going to work, and do we have to purchase all the copyright stuff for the stream, just to be able to fill the Sabre Center with friends and family and students and things like that. So we had 2 highly successful shows. And then our Sabre Robotics program at the state competition won the Regional Engineering Award. It's an award presented by NASA, and that award granted them an entrance to the World's competition, or is kind of the USA Nationals competition. And so they traveled to that with a lot of great support from our foundation and some community partners that helped fund the travel for that. So again, when I think about the culture that we're building at Franklin High School, we're developing winners across the board. It's not just one sport or one group of kids. It's all of us, and we're kind of developing a gold standard philosophy, and it's very, very exciting to be part of. Even more exciting, beyond just the accolades that we're seeing on the field and all the gold medals and state qualifiers, things like that, is the impact that participation in athletics and activities has on a student in terms of their real, actual outcomes and things that we see on transcripts and things that we see on ACT scores and school engagement. So Looking at the data we have here, this is our using real data from our students from last year. We've been tracking this year over year. Looking at last year, so a student that's not involved in any athletic or activity, that's their average cumulative GPA. And then as you can see, as we start to move to the right, as that student gets more involved in one or more athletics or activities offerings, that average GPA continues to climb. And the number of students that are involved in 3 or more activities has also increased, which is super exciting. That's something that we continue to try to build teamwork and partnership with across all of our different programs so that a student can be in a club and activity and also be a member of our athletics programs. Because when I share this with my coaches and they start to understand that if we're going to win together, and it's going to be something that we can build across the entire department. And a student missing a practice for a day, it's not because they're choosing to, do something that's not productive. They're choosing to give back to their school or to better themselves in a different way. So that's very exciting data to show. And as I look at this and I think about the impact, the investment in athletics and activities, it's one of those things that if we want to increase academic progress and academic outcomes, the best thing we can do is to get someone involved in one of our co-curricular programs. And we're trying our best to do that. And we're seeing some really strong participation in the fall sports season and really strong participation as we do club signups, which is really exciting because we're going to look to move this data even further up the scoreboard. Likewise, we have the impact of engagement on attendance. So beyond just the fact that our students are performing better in the classroom, they are in the classroom more. As we look at our attendance rate for someone that's not involved at all, we're just below 94% days attended. And then again, as you can see, the more that we get that student involved, the higher their attendance rate becomes. And as I look at this and I think about, we have students that are involved in 3, 4, 5 different things, whether it's sports or activities, and those students they love school because it's beyond just the 4 classes and a gold block every day. It's something that their entire life, the passions that they have can be developed. Again, these are extensions of the classroom. These are things that happen after school. These are things that happen with students that share a passion, but they might not interact with on a normal basis. So as they get involved more, that engagement goes up. And again, when I think about the best thing we could do for a student to really get them to get on the straight and narrow path for academic achievement is to get them involved in athletics and activities, which is really exciting. And another thing that we're super proud of last year, this is our second time in 3 years that we've earned the WIAA Award of Excellence. And this is given to athletics departments as a recognition for a department that promotes and recognizes achievements in the area of sportsmanship, ethics, integrity, leadership, and character. And it's a year-long process that we work through. There's several steps that we have to take in terms of how we run parent meetings, how we're communicating with coaches, different things that we're doing with captains groups, with leadership groups, with sportsmanship. And we're very proud that for the second time in 3 years that we've won this award, and the goal is that this becomes an annual thing. Again, just as another gold medal to show everybody, but also it has a tremendous impact on our programs, and it helps grow all that data that we just shared a little bit before. So looking forward in 22-23, we've had a really strong start to our fall sports. Girls tennis is undefeated in conference play. We're hosting subsectionals and sectionals at the Greendale Village Club next week. Boys volleyball is also undefeated in conference play. They will play Kenosha Indian Trail next Thursday. That'll be the deciding game for a conference championship, which is really exciting. Girls golf won their 9th consecutive conference championship this year, which is outstanding. They will be in sectionals on Monday. Girls swim is crowned the conference relay champion, so we'll get to put another number up on their banner. And then we have had, if you've been to a home football game, we've had outstanding student attendance at many of our events, volleyball and soccer included, but our football games have become a tremendous community celebration. Beyond just, we're there to watch football. It is the social place to be, and our kids are doing a great job of beyond just, cheering on our football team, but like just celebrating this school community. It's been a lot of fun, and a lot of credit for that goes to our student section leaders, a group of seniors that have really taken the ownership this year to drive that culture. In terms of our start for fall activities, we've seen tremendous growth in participation for football and for boys cross country. Those numbers continue to grow to the point due to some like supply chain issues, we couldn't equip all of our football players this year. So this is the first year in my time of being here that we've had to make cuts simply because we couldn't find helmets and shoulder pads. Helmets and shoulder pads all have a finite life. They get recertified every year. After a 10-year period, then they can no longer certify them. So we have to plan for that, budget for that, and we planned ahead and ordered as many helmets as we could. We couldn't meet the demand, and it was just one of those things that, we got those kids plugged into weight room stuff, or we got them plugged into a different sport right away. And hopefully they can try out again next year, and hopefully we can alleviate some of those supply chain issues. Some schools even now are still waiting for uniforms or helmets that were ordered in the spring. So it's definitely not something that we could have planned for. Clubs and activities are also starting now. Like I mentioned before, some of our clubs that are definitely like off the charts with participation so far would be FBLA. They've almost doubled in size in terms of students that have come to the initial meetings, which is really exciting. Multicultural Club, I believe I saw many of you at the Culture Fest last year. That's another one that is continuing to grow. And Mock Trial has nearly doubled in size as well. So huge credit to the advisors of those groups. I'm getting emails every day like, hey, I was expecting 24, we have 50, like how do we, what sort of classrooms can we use? So we're trying to like triage and figure out like where do we hold these meetings and in a way that's conducive to what the club's trying to do. So all really good problems to have. Homecoming week is next week, and it's like a week-long celebration of all that, all Franklin pride. So you're absolutely invited to any of the events that we have. So we have our Powder Puff semifinals on Monday, highly competitive, seniors versus freshmen, sophomores versus juniors. Tuesday, we have girls volleyball at home. Wednesday would be our parade and community pep rally. Thursday will be the boys volleyball game, and then Friday will be our homecoming football game, and we're also doing a Hall of Fame induction ceremony before that game for our athletics Hall of Fame. We'll be inducting 13 members, including 2 coaches. And if you'd like, I can share that information with you. There'll be more information and some social media images and different things coming out next week as we induct those members. Our fall play is November 3rd through 6th. The progress for that has been steady so far, and we're very excited, again, to open up kind of our drama production season. Looking at some of the challenges, kind of forecasting the challenges that we're going to have for 22 and 23. As discussed many a times, we are also a victim of a bus driver shortage, particularly anything that would be a charter, so anything that takes place beyond the contracted after-school routes. Everything that an athletics or activities team would take is considered a charter, and that's kind of the low, very low priority in terms of filling that need. It has been about a year now where basically between 1:30 p.m. and 4 p.m. Getting a single bus to be able to bring our teams anywhere has been a great challenge, and we've tried calling several different bus companies around us, and they're all servicing their own districts that they have contracts with. So we are working through that. Our coaches have been great with being flexible. We've had to rely on parents quite a bit to provide their own transportation. So that's been a huge challenge, and it's something that we're hoping at some point we can alleviate, whether that's getting our coaches or myself certified to drive a large bus and being able to do the drop-offs, and then first student can do our pickups later at night. All kinds of different ways that we're looking to get creative with that. Official shortages continue. Between 2019 and now, we've lost about 40% overall across all of our different sports. Different officials that have either left or retired and haven't returned. Where the WIA is really focused on promoting sportsmanship and promoting officials training and really recruiting new officials. We have in 2019, 2020, and 21, we saw a huge amount of officials retire just because of age. And if you look at any official at any of our games now, you'll notice kind of that trend that they're older. So we're really trying our best to recruit new officials that can get trained in and work our lower level games and then can work their way up to varsity. Supply chain issues, like I mentioned before. Anytime we are ordering any sort of equipment or uniform, we are trying to be 8 months ahead. We're ordering uniforms for next year now, just so that we don't run into this issue. If you were at our first football game, we had to wear our white jerseys because our home jerseys were not shipped yet from our Nike vendor. So things like that where we really have to plan ahead and be ready for that. Other challenges that we face, and this is one I had on there last year, just facilities limitations. I talked about that. Beyond just the fact that we have a single court gym at the high school serving 1,600 students, we're now running into, as we continue to grow engagement, things like, where do we put multicultural club, where do we put FBLA, where do we put these groups that need to meet with 80 or more students at a time. So really trying to think about, using our building in creative ways and projecting in the future as we continue to grow. What are some things that I can be doing now to make sure that these spaces and our advisors are equipped so that we can meet that demand as we continue to get kids engaged in athletics and activities. And another one that we are focusing on this year that we've kind of noticed over the last 3 years, obviously, would be really focusing on student mental health and then mental performance. Really working with our student athletes or anyone that's going to be a performer, anyone that's going to be either on a stage that's going to be experiencing high levels of stress or that performance anxiety. So we're going to start working on some things during Goal Block to kind of break down some of those barriers that kids might have about talking about stuff like that, and also giving them some science-based tools on developing that mindset for performance and kind of looking at that as our next step in making sure that we continue with our gold standard kind of philosophy. So that's what I have for my prepared presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions or comments that you might have about our department.
I was going to ask where, if we're back to pre-pandemic levels for most activities, but it sounds like we're ahead of pre-pandemic levels for most activities.
Yes, I would say with the exception of some of our, we're constantly competing with club sports. Baseball and softball in particular because of the travel ball leagues and that kind of stuff. So I think softball would be the only one where we had a very large graduating class last year, so that number is lower. We have fewer seniors that are going out for the team or that were out for the team last year. But other than that, I think across the board, kids missed participating in athletics and activities. I think it really kind of jolted many of them in terms when they watched and witnessed a senior that lost their spring season. And I think about the students that were impacted the most were the students that were a single sport athlete that only did a spring sport. And when that was taken away, like our athletes that were multi-sport or someone that was involved in multiple different things, they left that school year with, well, at least I got to do, this and this and this. And so I think kind of that fear of missing out and graduating with no regrets, and our coaches are also doing a great job of promoting involvement in other things too. Because if they're a great athlete, they should be representing Franklin in multiple different sports, not just specializing in one. So, I think across the board, our participation numbers are higher than they were pre-pandemic, which is really exciting. What's the process? Yes, so we have two of them that are coming down the pipeline right now that'll be non-sponsored. We have a staff member at the high school that is insanely passionate about Dungeons and Dragons. So we have like 15 kids that are super excited either to learn or to pursue that passion. So that'll be one that's going to start. We're exploring two related to the medical field. One is called HOSA, which is all like just kind of different networking things within the medical field, and the other is called MedLife, which is more of like medical activism and volunteerism through the medical field. So those are two or three new clubs that we're looking at starting, and we need to secure advisors for that and making sure that it fits within our school mission and vision, in which case all three of those do. It would serve a need for our students. So yeah, and I would say at least once a month I have conversations with students asking like, how do we start this, or I'm interested in that. And many of the things that they're already interested in, we have something to offer that I can kind of guide them to make sure that we're not overlapping or creating like subsets of different clubs and activities, making sure that, you know, if we start something new, it's because it's not serving a need that we have so far. Our streaming this year has been much less than we used to do, mostly because of just the demands of personnel to man the camera. We use Huddle, which is a software program that our coaches use for film evaluation, essentially. And as part of our partnership with them, they provide us with 2 automated cameras. And we're just waiting on finalizing internet installation to our outdoor stadium. And that'll then have an automated camera so that every event, I can set the schedule ahead of time, and at 7 p.m. the stream begins. It's got a AI computer brain that will follow the action and follow the camera. Most of the streams you see now are Huddle cameras. They're unmanned. And then same thing with our gym. So we have the cameras. We just need to wait for the kind of the IT infrastructure to get finalized, and then we can stream without human intervention, which will be nice. We subscribe to the service for our coaches and that's just all like film evaluation. So pretty much every one of our coaches that coaches any sort of a sport on a court or on a field, they film their games. It uploads to Huddle. The Huddle service breaks down everything into like stats and different clips and plays, and then they can evaluate that. So they use it as an evaluation tool and as a game planning tool. And as part of that, we get the cameras for free. And the streaming is free because it'll go to our YouTube channel.
Extreme support between different coaches, groups, activities of really, you should be doing 2 or 3 or 4, and we will work. You might have practice on this day, but you have this club at the same time, and that ability, the coaches have done a really phenomenal job of working together at that level to make sure that every student can do what they want to do. So I think that's a huge culture piece that's really important. So
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
SWSA update. Ms. Witkowski and Ms. Bennett, please.
we did see the document agenda, and I did work with Ben, and we are going to do something we did last year, which is after each meeting, we'll put summary information, and we'll keep adding to the document. Budget and the legislative priority. We can review what SWSA has proposed. If any board member would like to discuss any of that, future board meeting, let us know. We'll have more information on this particular area. Of course, we have a proposed budget. As you know, there's an election coming up and things could change. Also, the talking points are also in the document. And I guess the biggest point is we need to have an increase in our expenditure limit. And I think the chart that tells that, which shows what we did not get an increase at, is also the fact that kids are learning. Of course, while we're waiting for the elections and the budget to kind of get kicked off, we're working to establish a relationship with our next legislative.
So we actually met with Representative Lucas today, Mr. Comey and I. We met with Senator Bradley probably a couple weeks ago now. So both are very open to taking calls and communicating, especially when it comes to any bills or action that they're looking for that relates to education, or the budget for education. So we were happy to hear that. Actually, Senator Bradley is going to be part of our key communicators group also. So this is all the those meetings and trying to make it that way. And like I said, Representative Lucas we met with today, and very open phone calls to talk to the next team, make sure he represents all areas. He's new to representing Franklin and whichever district so he's worked a little bit less than us, and now is getting acclimated with our area and who he looks like and what our students are. So we're looking forward to that, and it was great that came in and met, and we're able to do that.
Thank you, and I'll add one thing as far as legislative advocacy goes. We've been asked by the WASB to present about legislative advocacy at the convention. So originally I was going to present with Dr. Miller and Dr. Cohn. We were going to talk about the House of Corrections and that law change. And that may be a start of it, but since we're continuing with legislative advocacy, that may change a little bit and more. Hopefully Mr. Bradley will be able to join us in that as well, but maybe we can talk about it at a later date about exactly what we want to present. But I'm glad that we've decided to advocate and be leaders in legislative advocacy. And so we'll look forward to presenting. If anybody else wants to join me up there, please feel free to talk about it. But we can talk about that at a later time. But we'll look forward to that in January. Anybody else? All right, treasurer's report is available in the board docs library. School board liaison reports, personnel and policy 4005, employment reference and verification. Ms. Lancour, Ms. Bennett, please.
So the first policy that we have up for review this evening is 4005, employment reference and verification. So there's not thank you. There's not significant updates to this particular policy. It's really based on state statute and federal law reference as well. So there are no updates to this policy since it was last reviewed.
Just a spelling correction.
Just a spelling correction, yes.
Great, so I'm looking for a motion to reconfirm policy 4005.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And policy 4010, please.
So policy 4010, non-discrimination and anti-harassment compliance policy. There aren't any significant changes to this policy as well. At the beginning of it, you can see there's some language change. This is to be consistent with what the board previously approved surrounding our non-discrimination policy. I believe that was in the fall of last year. So it's just creating consistency across our policies. And then we just changed the title of the from equity coordinator to non-discrimination coordinator. Since this policy was created, equity has really taken on a new theme and life in our district, and we just didn't think that, we didn't want confusion. We thought it would just be better to rename it to associate it with what it's truly meant to be with, so. And then the actual process has not changed at all. It's still up to date. So I'm happy to take any questions, comments.
All right, I'm looking for a motion to approve revised policy 4010 as presented.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Board liaison reports. Anybody have a board liaison report? I met with Dr. Moe and Mr. Thompson and the Sabre Business Alliance in our new, I guess, our new liaison position. And I thought we had a good meeting last week. We sort of set the parameters of what we're going to try to do. We defined some terms, and looking forward to meeting with that group. Mr. Thompson has a lot more, I'll call them internship opportunities for kids this year. Dr. Moe, maybe you have more of a, I don't remember the number he said, but it started out as 260, and I think he said there was more. So those are underway, but at any rate, we hope to streamline that process of kids getting into these and make it a better process and get kids ready for graduation and college and the job force. So we're happy that is up and running. Anybody else, any board liaison reports? All right, school and community engagement reports.
Well, we had a great marching band competition that we hosted 2 weeks ago. Thank you to our leaders who came to help with our presentation of awards. It was a very exciting day. It rained just a little bit, but we had 7 schools come from all over the state to come and compete, and got just all really great positive feedback from our schools and our community. It was a good, it's one of those Franklin Pride, like your sweatshirt says, moments.
Yeah, it was nice to be able to be down there on the field and hand out the awards.
Next time we'll get you guys
It was
to
really
do a
different,
salute.
though. Yeah, the special salutes. I felt like we weren't prepared.
Next time, we're gonna teach you guys a
Special
salute.
No, we don't.
Could be a board workshop item.
We're not the
Board workshop.
We're not the performers.
Fair
Angie.
enough, fair enough.
Anybody else have any school and community engagement reports? There have been a lot of things, and there have been a lot of people there, and that's great to see. I will say that at the Oak Creek Franklin football game last Friday, I would guess that there was more people at that football game than there will be at the homecoming game, based on how many people Oak Creek brought, and also based on the amount of people Oak Creek brought. I would say that the parking will be not as much of an issue as maybe we thought it would be. There was people parked in the street, and but I mean, Oak Creek brought, I don't know, 500 people with them, at least.
Oh, at least.
Maybe 1,000. It was very busy. I would guess that the total number of people for homecoming on campus will be less.
I don't know about that. It was the most crowded game I think I've ever been to. I didn't even try to get a seat in the stand. I just stuck with the band and took my hexagon. But
How many hot dogs were sold?
that I don't know.
Okay.
But it was really, but it was fun. It was exciting. It would have been better if we had won. Can't win them all.
All right, anybody else? All right, I'm looking for a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statutes, Wisconsin State Statute 19.851D, to review district threat of violence drills, and Wisconsin State Statutes 19.851F and 120.131C, to consider materials related to a student expulsion hearing and to consider the enrollment application of an expelled student. This is an action item.
Oh, wait, was that a motion?
Yes.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Sprague.
Yes.
Mrs. Witkowski.
Aye.
Mr. Alexandrovich.
Aye.
Mrs. Sapersky.
Aye.
Dr. Beer.
Aye.
And I also vote aye.
All right, we
in
are,
closed session.
thank you. Great. School board meeting debriefing. Anybody have any comments? It was nice to see those kids in here again.
Oh, yeah. Back in the swing of things.
Well,
No offense to all of you, but the kids are always the best part of these meetings.
Pretty much.
they are, I agree. I second that.
For sure.
This was a great idea.
They're supposed to be the
The
best.
minutes reflect that
You have
Alan
to-
appreciates the bunt.
And chocolate's your favorite, Alan?
Well, he negotiated
Oh, yeah.
with me because I.
Oh.
I gave Linda
Oh,
her
you
choice.
did a trade.
Got it, I didn't know that.
raspberry. I think it's good.
All right.
What's the thing, chocolate?
Sorry I asked, because
Does anybody
it's gotta
want
be in the
this?
minutes.
No. You take it home, give it to your wife if you don't want it.
No, he's gonna eat it.
Okay, in the car.
She tries to stay away from gluten. And I have a body that retains chocolate and
All right, community, future agenda items, Community and Rec Department report, at-risk report, new course approvals, Southwood Glen Elementary School presentation, annual health report, employee handbook updates, and staffing and budget update for 22-23 are upcoming, and I'm looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 7:41.